Chronicles of Time Travel. Adventures in the Extraterrestrial Frontier. Chapter 1. The Birth of Chronos Corp. The year was 2055, and humanity had finally unlocked the secret to time travel. It was a success, a breakthrough that marked the beginning of a new era for mankind. But with such power came responsibility, and as the years went by, a team of scientists and entrepreneurs came together, forming a corporation that would operate to keep the timeline intact. This corporation was called Chronos Corp, and their mission was to explore space-time and its infinite possibilities, monitoring the changes that could affect history, and ensuring that those changes wouldn't disrupt our present. Chronos Corp was made of only the best, most capable and intelligent individuals in the world, and they operated as a private entity. With their advanced technology, they monitored the past, present, and future, keeping track of every anomaly and distortion in the timeline. This responsibility eventually led to the creation of a task force of the most skilled and fearless time travelers, called the Timekeep, who worked for Chronos Corp and were the front lines of their mission. A young man named Zeke was among those chosen to be the first members of the Timekeep. He was an exceptional time traveler, with an unusually heightened perception of time, one that made it easier for him to navigate through different timelines. Zeke was also assigned to lead the Timekeep team, putting his extensive training and knowledge of different eras and cultures to good use. Zeke's first mission was in the year 2432. The Earth's atmosphere was becoming toxic, and life as we knew it was coming to its bitter end. However, a group of scientists had discovered a way of creating a space-time portal, which would allow them to travel to other planets safely. But something had gone wrong with the portal, and they were stranded on a planet that was not their destination. The Timekeep arrived on the planet and were greeted by the panicked scientists. They had no idea how they ended up on this world. The planet had blue skies, green grass, and a breathable atmosphere. It's a near-perfect replica of Earth, but it had one significant difference. The planet was home to an alien species that was not so friendly towards humans. Without much time to spare, the team set up a base camp and began working on a way to fix the portal. Meanwhile, they encountered the natives of this world, who they learned were called the Sindari. They were humanoid beings with blue skin and iridescent eyes. The Sindari informed the team they were trespassing on their land, and they would not be leaving alive. But Zeke knew that the Sindari had a hidden agenda, and he was determined to find out what it was. Using his powers of persuasion and his knowledge of ancient cultures, Zeke slowly won the hearts of the Sindari warriors who had been tasked with guarding them. They had learned that Chronos Corp was trying to fix the portal and leave their planet, which would mean never seeing the team again. But with Zeke's help, the Sindari began to trust the Timekeep team. They discovered that the Sindari were a peaceful people, with a civilization that thrived on spirituality, and they had been in contact with other worlds for centuries. They warned the Timekeep of a group of renegade pirates that came through the portal a week ago, wreaking havoc and disrupting the ecosystem. The Sindari believed that the pirates were building a weapon, and they needed to be stopped before it could threaten the balance of the universe. The Timekeep set out to stop the pirates, who they discovered had access to the same technology as Chronos Corp, but with less regard for the implications of traveling through time. Led by Zeke and his team, they fought and defeated the pirate crew. After the crisis was averted, the Timekeep bid farewell to the Sindari, who had grown to trust and respect them. As they made their way back through the portal, Zeke realized that this was only the beginning of their adventures in space and time. Chapter 2. The Dangers of Time Paradoxes. Their next mission took place in the year 1955. The Timekeep was sent to investigate a time paradox involving a renowned scientist by the name of Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee had discovered the secret to solar energy, an invention that would change the course of history. However, something went wrong. The prototype that he had created in this alternate timeline was stolen by a group of thieves, and without it, Dr. Lee's research would never have been able to come to fruition. The Timekeep had to act fast. Without Dr. Lee's invention, Earth would face a catastrophic energy crisis, leading to the destruction of the planet. But they also had to be careful not to disrupt the timeline too much, lest they cause even more damage. With the help of a young engineer named Liz, they tracked down the thieves who were planning to sell the prototype to foreign powers, leading to the potential downfall of diplomacy between nations. But as the team made their way through the 1950s, they realized that their actions were straying too much from the natural course of history. An agent from a rival corporation named Atlas Corp lay in wait and was ready to take advantage of the situation for their own gain. They sabotaged Chronos Corp's mission by introducing discrepancies in the timeline that irrevocably changed the course of events. Zeke and the Timekeep found themselves unable to return to their own timeline. The events of Chronos Corp's intervention had created a new present that did not feature the Timekeep team. They now had to find a way to regain their timeline and prevent the world from spiraling out of control. After a long and perilous journey, they managed to eliminate the Atlas Corp agent and prevent the sale of the solar technology. But the paradox they inadvertently created had disastrous consequences, resulting in a world where technology had developed far slower than predicted. The charismatic gangster Al Capone had risen to power, creating havoc in the once great city of Chicago. Zeke and the Timekeep had to make a difficult decision. They could simply return to their timeline and leave this altered Earth behind to deal with the consequences of their acts, or they could intervene once more, restoring their mistakes and making amends for the suffering their actions had caused. Ultimately, after much debate, they chose to rectify the damage. They went back to the beginning and started again, making sure that they left no footprints in the timeline. They managed to retrieve the solar technology before the Atlas Corp agent could interfere, and Dr. Lee's invention came to light in its proper time, saving the planet from a catastrophic fate. Chapter 3. The Defeat of the Zorax. The final mission for the Timekeep team took place in the year 3076. A rogue band of space rebels, the Zorax, had taken over a remote planet in a nearby galaxy. The Zorax were a ruthless species, known for their brutality and lack of empathy. They had seized control of a powerful weapon left behind by a vanished civilization, making their threat all the more real. Chronos Corp's research had revealed that the Zorax had launched a surprise attack on an intergalactic council, killing the leaders and seizing control of the galaxy. But with the Timekeep team's arrival, the galaxy's fate was about to change. The team was joined by Tomoko, a member of a rebel faction that stood against the Zorax threat. Tomoko revealed the Zorax's weaknesses, and together, they made a plan. They infiltrated the enemy base, freeing the prisoners and destroying the weapon they had acquired. It was an incredibly dangerous mission, and the Timekeep team faced near impossible odds. But with their vast array of skills and expertise, they were able to take down the Zorax. However, their victory came at a cost. One of the team members, a young recruit named Adi, was fatally injured during the operation. Adi was a good friend of Zeke's, and his death weighed heavily on the entire team. The team witnessed the fall of the Zorax tyranny and the rise of a new era of freedom for the galaxies they protected. Zeke, the Timekeep captain, saw what they had achieved and reflected on the journey. They had traveled through time and space, and they had prevented catastrophes, saved lives, and made a difference for the universe. It was an adventure like no other, and he was grateful for every moment of it. Epilogue. The legacy of the Timekeep. In the years that followed, Zeke retired from the Timekeep team, leaving behind a long and storied legacy. In his place, the Timekeep continued to expand, with new members traveling through space and time to protect the universe from dangers and threats. Chronos Corp continued to operate, expanding its reach and influence. The company's name became synonymous with the world's protectors, as time travelers devoted their lives to ensuring the timeline's safety. The future was bright and full of possibilities. But as Zeke looked back on his time with the Timekeep, he knew that he would never forget the adventures and the memories that he had made. It was an honor to serve and travel through time, protecting the past, present, and future for those who came after. For those who understood the dangers and responsibilities that came with the power of time travel, the future was indeed full of hope.